Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's me coming at you again with another video. Well, interesting news here. Uh, it says here that I was surfing through Boxing Scene for latest news and updates, and I see here that Ricardo Mayorga is set to return. Ricardo El Matador Mayorga. We all know Ricardo Mayorga, who he is, right? I would say he is the best. He's the all-time great when it comes to trash talking, man. Because this guy can really talk so much shit, but yet he knows how to sell a fight. But even though he can do all those things, but he can't really back it up in the ring. Well, ever since he moved up away from welterweight. But anyhow, he is set to return. That's February 13th, which is next year, and that's going up against Jorge Navarro. Now, Mayorga, he was a former two-division world champion who was a linear champion at 147 when he brutally knocked out Vernon Forrest in their first fight, which was a very surprise, obviously, because Vernon Forrest was at the time coming off his 2 wins against Shane Mosley, whatnot, and he was a heavy favorite to beat Mayorga. And, of course, at that time, Mayorga shocked the world by knocking him out and then beating him in the second fight. So, he's obviously his record 31-9-1 with 25 KOs. He's fighting Navarro, who hasn't fought since August of 2013, which is up more than 2 years now. His last fight, Navarro, was against Dmitry Chudanov, obviously, who I think now is his brother is a super middleweight, and of course he's still campaigning at middleweight as well. Meanwhile, Mayorga he fought August 29th against Shane Mosley, which is their second fight, which ended up in a grudge match. And I know a lot of people was shitting on that fight because these guys are way old and they're way past their prime, whatnot. Which I did agree to that, but at the same time, a lot of people were shitting on it as if that wasn't going to be a great fight. But it did turn out to be a very entertaining fight because we all know Mayorga, when he goes into fights, none of his fights turn out to be boring, and neither Shane Mosley. With the exception that one of his only boring fights was against Sergio Mora, which we all know Mora's style kind of makes fights boring. But needless to say, the fight will take place in Puerto Salvador, Alindi. I'm sorry if I'm I'm mispronouncing it, but that's in Central America, and Mayorga did fight there last year in 2014, December 20th. So again, his opponent hasn't fought in 2 years. Who was in a world title hunt before losing to Dmitry Chudanov, but it's reported here that Mayorga is well trained. He's already training for this fight. He's more committed than ever. Said Alvarez, who's promoting the fight. By the way, Rosendo Alvarez is a guy who fought the great Ricardo Lopez into 2 competitive fights years ago, and he drew with Lopez in the first fight, which meaning some people felt that Rosendo wanted that Alvarez won that fight, but he did lose the second fight in pretty convincing fashion to Lopez. But it is what it is. But he is promoting this fight, and Mayorga is quoted to still be determined to make one final run at the world title shot. I don't know. That's pretty far-fetched at this point. But since he is campaigning at middleweight, if he is serious about a world title shot, I mean, what is his chances against the likes of Danny Jacobs, Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo Alvarez, and, of course, Gennady Golovkin? Well, I will say this, though. If he happens to fight either one of those guys, he would make those fights very entertaining because he would fight in a very, very awkward style to where those guys would be confused on how to fight him. But at the same time, he's very, very easy to hit because Mayorga's defense is so, so poor. Because he relies on his defense, because he could take so many shots. But obviously, the thing about Mayorga is that not only he could take punches, but his stamina has always been very, very, very poor. And he's very, very vulnerable when it comes to body shots. But realistically, if he does get past Navarro, which I expect he does, I have to go with Mayorga in this because he is the bigger man, and he does have more power compared to Navarro. If he does get past Navarro, if he is really serious about making another run, hopefully he should be set up I would like to see him go up against Antonio Margarito, because we all know that Margarito announced his comeback, and for some odd reason, that fight got his fight was supposed to take place 2 months ago, I believe, and that got postponed due to money issues. Him trying to price himself out on getting monetary on certain fights. But anyhow, I would love to see that fight between Margarito and Mayorga. And if I had to pick a winner, I have to go with Margarito, because obviously he's more technical and more skilled than Mayorga, and obviously his conditioning is much more greater than Mayorga's. But anyhow, that's pretty far fetched right now. Let me know what you think about Mayorga coming back for another fight. Do you think is he out of his mind for taking this fight, or do you think he actually has another shot at the title? So drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Signing off. Share. Subscribe. Peace. And by the way, happy holidays.